When a man loses control over his lust, he loses far more than it may seem at first glance. Along with it goes his core, the vital energy that could have been directed toward creation and growth, but instead dissolves into a void of illusions, an imitation of intimacy, into that pleasure which leaves nothing behind but a thirst for more and more. In today's world, where instant access to pornography, to the naked bodies of strangers selling the illusion of love through webcam shows and OnlyFans has become the norm, lust has ceased to be a natural part of human nature and turned into a weapon aimed at destroying male strength. Nowadays, there is no need to conquer a man with a sword or ideology. It is enough to fix his attention on a screen, on someone else's body, on someone else's pleasure, to deprive him of his inner freedom. Modern society is flooded with stimuli that hijack the dopamine system of a man and use it against himself, creating a constant need for new and new doses of superficial pleasure, which ultimately leads to real women no longer sparking genuine desire and reverence. And if they do, only faintly, because the mind is accustomed to endless switching between effortless peaks of pleasure, between pseudo-intimacy that lacks the scent of skin, the warmth of touch, the pain, the real love. A man immersed in this flow of pornography loses not only his will, but the inner tension necessary for spiritual and personal growth, becoming soft, lethargic, dependent, internally submissive and weak. A society where men have forgotten how to govern their instincts gradually turns into a swamp where there is no place for a firm no to pleasure when honor demands it, where there are no men who can stand with a straight back and cold fire in their chest. Generations of men grow up behind screens where a woman is a commodity, pleasure is the goal, and discipline is perceived as violence. And in such a society, it is easy to control the masses, because a man unable to control his lust cannot control his life. You may think you are free when you open porn or pay for an OnlyFans subscription, but this is not freedom. It is a trap, a conditioning carefully wrapped in the wrapper of an illusory choice. Every new video is a reduction of your inner strength, a leakage of attention and masculine energy that could have been used for creation but now dissolves in empty fantasies. This problem is not new. Lust has always been an ancient beast, and in the past people knew well that if it is not tamed, it will inevitably destroy you from within. In Sparta, boys from the age of 7 underwent a harsh path of becoming warriors, without comfort and weakness, without the right to do whatever they wanted. There, discipline reigned. There was pain, cold, and strength, and they taught restraint in everything, in food, sleep, words, and especially in desires. Sexual promiscuity was seen as weakness, and sex was not entertainment, but a sacred ritual related to procreation and preserving physical power. A man in Spartan culture had to master himself, because if you cannot govern yourself, others will govern you. They understood. Lust is power, but if not directed upward, it will pull you down into the dirt. In the East, in India, China, Tibet, sexual energy was always considered a valuable resource, and the Taoists believed that the loss of semen equaled the loss of vital force, while yogis called celibacy a path to enlightenment. Brahmacharya, or celibacy, is not merely a rejection of sex, but a practice of concentration and mental focus, a path of strength, not weakness. In monasteries, caves, and deserts, men fled from lust as from a demon capable of burning the soul from within. And this was not hatred of women, but a deep understanding that uncontrolled passion is a fire that destroys the home. Abstinence is not about prohibitions and fears, but about choice and inner power, about meeting desire face to face without running away or hiding. By refusing easy pleasures, you do not become poorer. On the contrary, you gain freedom because you begin to understand. A man's strength is not in getting everything at once, but in the ability to hold attention and concentrate energy. At this moment, something awakens inside that sleeps in many, and you begin to see the world more deeply and sharply, no longer perceiving it as a gray background, and every moment gains weight because the mind is no longer clouded by illusions. You gain focus. Your energy ceases to scatter in hundreds of directions and gathers into one point that becomes your goal. You become stronger not in body but in spirit, because every time you say no, you temper your will and strengthen your inner core, shaping within yourself a man capable of withstanding any storm. You learn to feel deeper, because true intimacy is not a screen or images, but touch, tenderness, and vulnerability. And you no longer fear that. If lust controls you every day, over time you stop seeing a woman as a person, and instead, only an image remains in your mind, where undressing mentally replaces true intimacy. Feelings become shallow, like reflections in muddy water, and loyalty and love slip into the shadows, becoming unreachable and unwanted. You turn into a soft, vague silhouette, led by your own desires and illusions, in which the inner fire fades, and when the time of trials comes, you find no strength to stand firm and take responsibility for your life. If this state becomes the norm for society, then this is no longer a society, but quicksand on which heroes do not grow and true fathers do not appear, where everyone chases the shadow of pleasure. No one knows what it means to go through pain, and no one remembers what it is worth living for and what is worthy to die for. Break the chains through which your strength leaks. Refuse the slavery of instant pleasures, and direct your energy toward real creation. Take responsibility and defeat the hardest enemy, yourself. We live in difficult times, my friend, and too much has fallen upon our shoulders. So to create great things, you must first deal with what seems small and insignificant. There is no place here for glory. There is only inner depth and an unyielding character. And it is precisely in silence and struggle that a man is born, not by name or status, but by the power to stand and resist temptation. And true freedom is not doing everything you want, but being able to say no, to stop, to turn away from weakness, and keep moving forward.